it has become imperative that we need to address some crucial issues which are fundamental to the collective existence of Erei as a community. First, we found it reprehensible over the empires of lies fabricated and paddled by Erei coalition concerning the ongoing and protracted communal crash that has engulfed Erei over the past 4 years. This gory and unnecessary war has caused so much damage to our collective existence as a result of some interests that must be protected at all costs, even at the cost of human blood. Second, we must correct the erroneous impression and the narrative paddled by the Erei coalition that the war is an interstate war between Ebonyi State and Cross River State. The current war rocking Erei, which has destroyed the very foundation that we stood, is a communal war between 7 communities of Erei combined against 3 other communities of URUGBAM, AFONO, and EDU. It is pertinent at this point to chronicle the events that led to this unfortunate war, which Erei coalition has consistently vowed that it can never come to an end. The genesis of this war is when EGBOR sold a palm plantation jointly owned by URUGBAM and EGBOR to African Stones Work, a company owned by Senator Uboji. This generated so much controversies and several meetings were held to broker peace and to chart a way forward. While these deliberations were on, Erei formed a coalition of 7 villages of EGBOR, IPENE IBINI, Omolo, ETANA, OBUM, led by ABANWAN, to form an alliance against URUGBAM. In the month of August 2018, the combined armed youth of Erei coalition adopted an URUGBAM man and murdered him in cool blood. URUGBAM informed Erei community, but no action was taken to address the complaint of URUGBAM. URUGBAM organized a search party and were confronted with armed youth of Erei coalition. Few days after, a petition was written by Erei coalition leading to the arrest of the clan head of URUGBAM and other 3 community leaders. They were detained at the state police headquarters for 21 days and subsequently arraigned before the Chief Magistrate Court 1, Calabar, on account of promoting native war. They were eventually released following the striking out of the charge against them. Angered by the discharge of the 4 chiefs, Erei coalition adopted 3 sons of URUGBAM at the farm, murdered them, took their corpses home, cooked and ate them. While URUGBAM were busy searching for their corpses, on the 4th day of December 2018, the combined armed force or armed youth of Erei coalition with their hired mercenaries from neighboring communities invaded and launched an unprovoked and unprecedented attack on URUGBAM, set ablaze more than 50 houses, killed scores of people, including women and children, and chased the entire community away, who ran and found refuge in neighboring communities of Ebonyi and Abia State. While URUGBAM were still in exile, on the 22nd day of December, the same combined armed youth of Erei coalition with their hired mercenaries again invaded URUGBAM community, set the entire community ablaze, including schools, hospitals, churches, police stations, markets, and every available structure, looted all the household properties of the people, including their farm produce. In June 2019, following the deployment of the military to Erei to maintain peace, URUGBAM people returned back to their ancestral home. However, following the non-maintenance of the military, they were recalled back to the barracks. During the presence of the military, several meetings were convened to proffer solutions to end the crisis. Some of these meetings were initiated either by the youth leader of URUGBAM or by the military. All these meetings met with serious resistance by Erei coalition. The paramount ruler of Biase convened a meeting to broker peace. In that meeting, a peace accord was reached and all warring parties were directed to sign the peace accord. URUGBAM signed, but Erei coalition refused to sign. Rather, they resorted to writing frivolous and unfounded series of petitions against the deputy governor of the state, the paramount ruler, and Honorable Justice Walter Onugen, retired, accusing them of complicity. Following the withdrawal of the military, the combined armed force of Erei coalition and their hired mercenaries invaded AFONO community, committed the worst heinous crime when they murdered more than 100 persons, including sucklings, women, old and young, men, and set the entire AFONO community ablaze. The remnant fled and took refuge in the neighbouring communities of Erei and Abia State. I termed this heinous crime as a genocide. The question is, why attack AFONO? What was the offense of AFONO? Answer very simple. AFONO refused to join arms with them to decimate and eliminate URUGBAM community. A day after the large-scale destruction of AFONO and the wanton killing, the combined armed force of Erei, including the hired mercenaries, invaded and launched yet another third attack on URUGBAM, chased all the indigenes away, and demolished the few structures that were constructed as temporary shelters. Since URUGBAM took shelters at the neighboring communities in the various IDP camps, Erei coalition has sent several threat messages to the community of Ekoli to chase URUGBAM indigenes who are now refugees in the community. As a result of the refusal of Ekoli to drive URUGBAM people away, no fewer than 10 indigenes of Ekoli have been abducted by Erei and murdered in cool blood. Some of them were eaten like bush meat. In the month of March 2022, Erei coalition led by Chris Ayade visited Ohafia and directed them to chase all the indigenes of URUGBAM, AFONO, and part of EDU away from their town. Though this directive has not met with favorable response from Ohafia community. A couple of days ago, the combined armed youth of Erei coalition invaded and launched an unprovoked attack on Onwana, a neighboring community in Ebonyi State, destroyed several houses worth millions of naira. Reasons: because all entreaties by Erei to drive URUGBAM and AFONO who are living in Onwana has not yielded the required result. Onwana responded by placing an embargo on Erei people. All these years, Cross-River State government, Biase local government, has maintained a compromising silence over the plight of the people of URUGBAM, AFONO, and part of EDU. This silence points irresistibly to only one irrevocable inference: that the Cross-River State government and Biase local government, led by Honorable Adachas, are accomplices in the carnage and genocide perpetrated against URUGBAM, AFONO, and part of EDU, who refused to join in arms against URUGBAM. The silence was recently broken by Honorable Daniel Asoko, member representing Biase at the National Assembly, when he issued a press release following the reprisal attack by URUGBAM. The Honorable Chairman or Chairperson of Biase also broke her silence when she promptly answered a distress call by Erei coalition when they went beyond bounds by launching an unprovoked attack on Onwana community, who responded by placing economic sanctions on Erei. If such agility and forcefulness demonstrated by the Honorable Chairman of Biase and Honorable Dansuki was exercised since the crisis started in 2008, they would have been able to enthrone lasting peace in Erei, and the amount of bloodshed and wanton destruction of property would have been avoided. We have painstakingly chronicled this series of events to let the world know who are actually the aggressors in the crisis, as against the erroneous and fabricated narrative of Erei coalition that URUGBAM are the aggressors. If this war was caused by the sale of palm plantation by EGBOR, the questions to be asked are: 1. Is ABANWAN sharing common boundary with EGBOR, or do ABANWAN have any vested interest in the palm plantation? 2. Do IPENE share common boundary with EGBOR and URUGBAM, or do IPENE have any vested interest in the same plantation? What is the vested interest in the matter? Is IPENE having a vested interest in the palm plantation? What of ETANA, Omolo, and OBUM? Unless and except the quest for territorial conquest, that is the irrevocable motive of ABANWAN and IPENE. ABANWAN's major interest is to take over the entire territorial area called URUGBAM, and IPENE to take over the entire territorial area called AFONO. I call on all mothers and fathers whose children are being sent to go and fight a war and get killed. Those who are buying guns and bullets for your children to go and fight wars, and get killed have all their children in Abuja, Lagos, Calabar and other towns in Nigeria enjoying education and all amenities of life. And they send your children to go and die for their own selfish cause, making you childless. Children you suffer to bring up are being killed on daily basis because they are fighting a war of a separatist interest. Mothers, fathers, rise up and say no to the killing of your sons. We want to call on the government of Cross River State, Biase local government, and all peace-loving people of Biase to rise up to this occasion and stop this needless war and killing and destructions of property. Inasmuch as any community in Erei is still outside their ancestral home, there may not be any sustainable peace in Erei. No crisis is solved by the use of arms. The Bible says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are the sons of God." Again, it is written, "How pleasant are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace." We all professes to be Christians, but we cannot practice the way of God. It is mere hypocrisy. This needless war has become so has thrown a devastating blow on the people of Erei generally, and we call on all people to ensure that this war is stopped. No community, no personality should be intimidated or cowed by the intimidation of Erei coalition. We are aware that our dear Deputy Governor, Professor Ivara, has at a point in time inaugurated a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the cause of this crisis. We are also aware that all the steps taken by this judicial panel of inquiry was frustrated by the combined forces of Erei. As we speak, the report of the panel of inquiry has not been brought to public domain. Neither has the government acted on that report or on the recommendations proffered in that report. I call on the Cross River State government once again to critically look at the issues in this crisis and to ensure that peace, lasting peace and sustainable peace is enthroned in Erei, irrespective of which interest it is. Thank you and God bless you. Long live Cross River State. Long live Biase local government. Long live URUGBAM and AFONO and part of EDU that are on exile. Long live Nigeria. Thank you and God bless you.